If you had French fries for lunch today, or maybe some crackers, a piece of toasted bread, or even a bowl of breakfast cereal this morning, there's a chemical that just entered your body. And here's the scary part, you won't find it anywhere on the label. It's called acrylamide. Now, I know that sounds like something out of a chemistry textbook, but stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what this stuff does inside your body after 50, and more importantly, what you can do about it starting today. Most people have never even heard of acrylamide, but cancer researchers have, the EPA has, and several major international health organizations have. They all agree on one thing. This is one of the most dangerous compounds regularly showing up in the modern diet. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might change the way you think about your next meal. Here's what most people don't realize about getting older. After 50, your body's natural repair systems start to slow down. Your cells don't bounce back from damage the way they did at 30. Your liver works a little harder. Your immune system isn't quite as sharp, which means the things you eat and the chemicals that come along for the ride have a bigger impact than they ever did before. When you were younger, your body could handle a lot more insults, but now, every single day, the choices you make at the table either help your body stay strong or slowly chip away at it. And that's why acrylamide matters so much for people over 50 specifically, because this isn't a one-time thing. This is something that quietly accumulates in your body meal after meal, year after year. And most people don't even know it's there. Let me explain where this stuff comes from and why it's hiding in some of the foods you probably eat every single day. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine your neighbor Margaret, a sweet woman, 67 years old, very health conscious. She reads labels, she buys organic, she does everything right. But every morning, she makes herself a couple of pieces of golden brown toast and a cup of light roast coffee. And every afternoon, she snacks on a handful of crackers while she reads. Margaret has no idea she's consuming acrylamide every single day. Here's why. Acrylamide is not an ingredient anyone adds to food. It's a chemical that forms when certain foods are cooked at high heat, especially when starchy foods like potatoes, grains, or corn start to brown, crisp, or char. That golden color you see on your toast, that crunch on a chip, that's exactly when acrylamide is being born. The chemical reaction responsible has a name, the Maillard reaction, but all you really need to know is this. When starchy food meets high heat and turns brown, acrylamide appears. And it doesn't matter how clean the rest of that food is. The process creates it. Here's what makes it worse. It's completely invisible. No smell, no taste. You'd never know it was there. But here's what I find really troubling, and most people don't realize this. Once acrylamide gets into your body, it doesn't just sit there. It moves fast. It gets absorbed right through your gut lining and enters your bloodstream within minutes. And then it goes to your liver. Now, your liver is trying to help. It's doing its job breaking down this foreign compound. But in the process of breaking it down, your liver actually converts acrylamide into something even more dangerous. A compound called glycidamide. And glycidamide is the one that really goes after your DNA. Think of it this way. Acrylamide walks into your body. Your liver turns it into a key. And that key fits perfectly into the lock of your cells, unlocking damage inside them. That damage, over time, is what cancer researchers are concerned about. On top of that, acrylamide is what scientists call a neurotoxin. That means it doesn't just affect your cells, it targets your nerves and your brain. And it doesn't stop there. Studies in animals have shown it can also affect reproductive organs. Now, I'm not here to scare you, but here's the truth that most people need to hear. About 40% of the calories in the average American diet come from foods that contain acrylamide. Let me repeat that. Nearly half of what many people eat every day. We're talking about potato chips, French fries, corn chips, crackers, cookies, breakfast cereals, packaged baked goods, the crust on bread, and yes, even coffee. Now, before you panic about the coffee, and I know some of you just tensed up, I have good news coming on that, so keep watching. But think about a typical day for a lot of folks over 50. Toast in the morning, crackers for a snack, maybe some fries with lunch or dinner. That's 3 separate acrylamide exposures before bedtime, and it adds up over months and years in a body that's already working harder to protect itself. Here's what makes this particularly sneaky. You won't find acrylamide on any ingredient label, not once. Because technically, it's not an ingredient. No food company adds it. It's a byproduct, something that gets created during the cooking or manufacturing process. By the time the food is packaged and in your hands, the acrylamide is already locked inside. This is why reading nutrition labels, as important as that is, doesn't protect you from this one. You have to know which types of foods and which cooking methods create it in the first place. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about right now. Here's something that surprised me when I first learned it, and I think it'll surprise you too. The type of fat used in cooking actually plays a big role in how much acrylamide gets produced. Back before the 1990s, McDonald's used to fry their French fries in beef tallow, pure saturated fat. And here's the interesting part. Saturated fats appear to protect against the formation of acrylamide, even at high heat. But when fast food chains switched to vegetable seed oils, canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, that protection disappeared. And now those same fries that used to be safer, they're producing significantly more acrylamide. This doesn't mean French fries fried in beef fat are health food, but it tells us something important. The combination of refined starches, refined sugars, and seed oils is a triple threat when it comes to acrylamide production. Now, what if I told you that what you eat alongside these foods could actually help neutralize some of that damage? Stay right there, because we're getting to the good part. Let me pause here for a second, because I want to make sure this is sticking with you. Here are the 3 things to remember so far. 1. Acrylamide forms when starchy foods are cooked at high heat and turn brown or crispy. It's not added to food. It appears during cooking. 2. Once inside your body, your liver converts it into an even more dangerous compound that can damage your DNA over time. 3. About 40% of modern food contains it, and it never shows up on a label. Now let's talk about what you can actually do about this. The single best thing you can do is reduce ultra-processed foods. Not eliminate, reduce. Because that's where the bulk of your acrylamide exposure is coming from. When you cook at home, try steaming, boiling, or slow cooking instead of frying or roasting at very high temperatures. A slow-cooked piece of pork or chicken might only reach 250 degrees, well below the threshold where acrylamide really starts to form. Compare that to deep frying at 350 to 400 degrees, and you can see the difference. If you do bake or roast, aim for lighter coloring. The deeper the brown, the more acrylamide. Don't let things go dark or burnt at the edges. If you're cooking with sugar at home, natural sugars like honey or raw cane sugar are less likely to trigger the acrylamide reaction than refined sugars like dextrose, high fructose corn syrup, or maltodextrin, worth keeping in mind. But here's the most powerful tool you might not expect. If you happen to eat something that contains acrylamide, and at some point, certain foods can actually help your body neutralize its effects. Cruciferous vegetables are your best friends here. We're talking about broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and arugula. These vegetables contain compounds that help your body defend against acrylamide's damage at the cellular level. Try to have at least 1 serving of these every single day. Broccoli sprouts are particularly powerful, even more potent than mature broccoli when it comes to protective compounds. Garlic also has protective properties worth noting. Vitamin C-rich foods, citrus fruits like lemons and limes, bell peppers, and sauerkraut have all shown ability to help counteract acrylamide. Green tea is another great addition, especially if you're drinking it regularly. And spirulina, that blue-green algae powder, has also been studied for its protective effects against acrylamide. Now about that coffee I promised to address. Good news for coffee lovers. Not all coffee is equal when it comes to acrylamide. Light roast coffee actually contains up to 10 times more acrylamide than dark roast. Why? Because at the extreme temperatures used for dark roasting, sometimes reaching 400 degrees and beyond acrylamide actually becomes unstable and breaks down. So if you're a daily coffee drinker, switching from light roast to dark roast or espresso is a simple, practical way to reduce your acrylamide exposure without giving up your morning cup. Organic dark roast is your best bet. Let's put this into a practical daily framework. For cooking temperature, try to keep your cooking at or below 250 degrees whenever possible. Steaming, boiling, slow cooking, and poaching are all great options. If you do use your oven, aim for 325 degrees or below and pull food out before it gets too dark. For food frequency, if more than half of what you're eating every day is ultra-processed chips, crackers, fast food, packaged baked goods, that's where the real risk starts to build up over time. You don't have to be perfect, but aim to keep ultra-processed foods to less than 25 to 30% of your daily calories. For pairing, every time you eat something that might contain acrylamide, add something protective on the side. A handful of broccoli, some sliced bell pepper, a cup of green tea. These small additions make a real difference over months and years. For coffee, if you currently drink light roast, try switching to dark roast or espresso. Same ritual, significantly less acrylamide. And for cooking fats, when buying cooking fats, choose butter, coconut oil, or other saturated fats for high-heat cooking. They're more stable and don't contribute to acrylamide the way seed oils do. You don't need to be afraid of every meal. That's not the message here. But if you're over 50 and more than half of what you eat every day is coming from ultra-processed foods, the kind that are fried, baked golden, or snapped and crunched out of a package, then acrylamide is quietly accumulating in your body. And in a body that's already working harder to repair itself, that matters more than it did 20 years ago. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Cook more at home. Keep the heat moderate. Eat your cruciferous vegetables every single day. Pair protective foods alongside any processed food you do eat. Swap your light roast for dark. And choose whole foods over refined, processed ones whenever you can. None of this is complicated. It's just about being aware and making small, consistent choices that add up to real protection over time. That's what healthy aging actually looks like. Not fear, not perfection, just awareness and a little bit of knowledge on your side. If you found this useful, please hit the like button. It helps more people over 50 find information like this when they need it. And subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because in the next video, I'm going to share the daily habits that are quietly damaging your joints after 60, and the simple foods that can help you move more freely again. You've got more control than you think. Use it.